So this is it. The very thing that myself, that Jason Unruh, that so many of us who are on the left, so many of us who are in the ML community have been trying to tell people that for so long we've been trying to say it was coming. And, let me just start by saying that people, of course, are blaming Republicans, and they should, because they're the ones that are doing this. But the thing is that this would have occurred under the Democrats as well. Like, the Democrats would have at some point started doing this very thing. Antifa is going to be labeled as a terrorist organization. So that means, but because of that, because of how vague this is being written, being put out there, it basically means that they are going after any and all opposition to the Trump regime. Now, again, I bring this up, I bring the Democrats up because the Democrats aren't going to do a goddamn thing to fight back against this. Like, because at the end of the day, the Democrats want Antifa gone as well, because the Democrats are themselves fascists. They're just social fascists. They're people that pretend like they actually give a crap, like they put on this veneer of actually caring about racial minorities and gender and sexual minorities and, just in general marginalized groups, but they really don't. They don't give a crap. They only care about getting your vote by saying these things. They were going to make Antifa illegal at some point. America was going to do that one way or the other. But now, with how it's being put out there, this means that any and all resistance is going to essentially be categorized as terrorism now. Now, yes, I'm sure that there's going to be a legal battle over this. I'm very certain there is. And that it'll probably get struck down for being unconstitutional, for violating free speech to some degree, because let's be real, they're probably gonna, because the speech is, because what's written so far is very vague. And so it basically curtails the free speech of pretty much everybody, including, Democrats, including liberals. And because, liberals still want to be able to hold on to their power, we're going to see this contradiction where they're going to fight back against it, and they probably will win in that regard. But it's not going to be a win for us who are actually, on the left. Those of us that are actually anarchists and communists, and various other type of ists. So this is one of those situations where they aren't going to stop this because this is, they want to defend Antifa. They're going to fight this because, they want to hold on to what position of power, their privilege. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they want the same thing. They want Antifa gone as well. Basically, what they're doing is they're basically making being a leftist illegal. Essentially, this is anti-communism. This is basic, getting rid of your opposition without actually stating that it's any specific thing other than, like communism, like what Czechia did with banning communism. This is basically that, but without actually stating whether it's communism or anarchism. They're doing this so that they can just ban any leftist opposition. But what I find asinine about all of this shit is the pretentious liberals, like the individual that I started beef with here in Portland a few months ago. People like her who scream about nonviolence, but then put down the actual left, who advocate for resistance by any means necessary, who think that performative sign waving will just magically make all the bad people go away. Yet how's that working? They are literally going to start coming after you too now, because any opposition to this regime is going to be met with you being labeled as a terrorist. And let's be very clear on something. They are doing this because under US law, if they arrest you and they consider you a terrorist in this case, they can indefinitely detain you for, well, essentially your whole life. They don't have to grant you a speedy trial. They don't even have to grant you a trial, period. They could just indefinitely hold you in Guantanamo Bay or at Leavenworth or wherever the fuck they want to send you. Or they could just outright kill you if they wanted to. That is what they want to do. They're also wanting to do the same thing to trans people by labeling trans people who commit crimes, as well as essentially anybody who's a trans advocate. They want to label you as an extremist. So same situation. They're literally going after any opposition, and they want to use whatever power in their disposal to be able to indefinitely detain you. So essentially to curtail any constitutional rights. This is why those rights, those constitutional rights, they're privileges that they can just revoke. The Constitution doesn't mean shit to those that, well, wipe their ass with it. And this is something that these pretentious liberals don't seem to understand, who go around talking about performative sign waving, but don't get violent, don't stir the pot, don't cause any problems. Yeah, well, as we've said time and time again, that's kind of the only way to get a point across. That's kind of the only way to, fight fascists, to fight Nazis. And now what's it gotten you? What's that performative protesting gotten you? Now you're going to essentially be labeled as a terrorist too. Now these same people are like, well, now you can't do violence because now it's going to be illegal. So that does not mean that you should not still actively engage in resistance by any means necessary. Because again, it doesn't matter what resistance you put up now. All resistance is terrorism now. Do you get that? Resistance is terrorism now. It does not matter if you're performatively sign waving or not. If you are wearing a mask and you are at a protest, you can be arrested and indefinitely detained for being a terrorist. If you advocate for trans rights, you can be labeled as an extremist. Any sort of protest that they deem at their will, at their discretion, to be they could just point to you and say, oh, well, you're Antifa. And immediately you will be charged with terrorism. So it does not matter if you go to a No Kings protest and sit there with your sign with a little smile on your face like you're actually fucking doing something, which you're not. It does not matter if you stand in front of a Humvee or a tank. It does not matter if you're throwing Molotov cocktails. All resistance is terrorism now. I'm going to now turn this over to Dark Zenobia, who I believe has said it best, probably better than any of us could have said ourselves, because he, like me, has quite a lot of things to say.
I mean, American fascists are stupid. I'm like, there's a reason why Americans are mocked worldwide, why Americans are not taken seriously. Like, it's like fascists, when they look at America, it's like, we don't want to be anything like them. Like, Americans have shown that to be the most dumbest fascists imaginable. And in all honesty, I think this country, like, the fascists got lucky up until this point, and they've never been capable of not fucking making stupid decisions. One dumbass decision after another. Okay, you labeled Antifa as a terrorist organization, which no other country is doing that but America. What the fuck does that even mean? It is so vague. Even a right-winger that opposes Trump could be considered a terrorist. Like, this is government overreach. There's no way people cannot see this. I'm not saying there isn't danger in what Trump is doing, but fucking shit, man. This is dumb. And what these fascists won't fucking realize, especially those who are bootlickers for Trump, you basically made the best argument for the Second Amendment. Because what better argument for the Second Amendment than government overreach? Because this is overreach. Like, so if you are against Antifa, that means you oppose Jewish Voice for Peace. You oppose people who protest a genocide in Gaza. You oppose environmental activism. So that's what you're saying. You're basically arguing for these movements to be arms. You're arguing for them to carry guns and protest because they're going to be attacked by the government anyway. This is the best argument against nonviolent resistance. Do these people not see it? Do they not realize this will make resistance against the government more violent? Because if they're going to be cracked down anyway, they might as well defend themselves with guns. Can they not see it? Can these bootlickers not see it? The everyday dumbass Trump supporter realize if they actually cheer on in the sidelines, they could be one of those people that could be shot dead by a bullet. Do they not see this? Do they actually think people who oppose fascism are just going to be scared? No. This will make them feel emboldened. This is just what's fucking dumb and kind of funny about Trump and his. Fuck Trump. Let's talk about his supporters. How stupid Trump supporters are. Those who oppose Antifa. They would be one of the first people that would be shot because the government. Because do they honestly? Because most of them don't have guns. Let's be honest. These Trump sycophants, most of them don't fucking have guns. A lot of these people that talk shit online, they're not going to fucking do shit, and they would likely be one of the first people shot. The sellouts and especially would be shot by their own people because they'd be seen as the enemy. Labeling Antifa as a terrorist organization in this stage without compensating like people's fucking guns is the dumbest decision the Trump administration could ever have made. Because they have basically made our point for us that we need to have guns. that we should never give up our guns. He's basically argued in our favor by doing this. This is just incompetence. Like, they just want to get everything. They're so impatient that they want to get everything done quickly, but fail to have the foresight that if you want to actually crush your opposition, you need to disarm them first. The Second Amendment still exists. And now that we're in an open fascist environment, those who may be skeptical of guns now will have no choice but to support the right to bear arms. Because how are you going to resist the government without the ability to defend yourself? This is the best argument in the favor of the Second Amendment, and Trump has just made it easy for Antifa to push their propaganda. Like, Antifa could push the Second Amendment is a fundamental right for all citizens. That it's a citizen's duty to overthrow their tyrannical government. This is fucking. I can't help but laugh just how dumb this fucking decision is.
I'd also like to make this little addendum to this video, because this is something that's not just going to affect leftists and liberals. This is going to backfire tremendously, because this is also going to affect anybody in MAGA or the right wing in general who also, to some degree, opposes Trump or his policies. That's kind of the whole point of what this is going to do. Whereas if you go against, Il Duce, you will quite literally just be labeled as a terrorist. You'll be labeled as an extremist. But again, I think it's important for us to kind of point this out. What exactly defines what terrorism is? Because I seem to recall a little bit of a incident that has happened over the last couple of years. One in particular that happened on January 6th, 2021. Was that not an act of terrorism? Because, you are basically using intimidation and violence to achieve your political means, which is what the definition of terrorism is. It really wasn't any different than a lot of the Antifa protests that we've seen. The only difference is that one stands against fascism and one embraces it. What about the violence that is hurled at protesters, at Antifa protesters, or even at nonviolent protesters by these people, like the Proud Boys, by Patriot Prayer? Is that not terrorism? How about the people in robes that set fire to crosses? Is that not terrorism? The way that they have historically attacked marginalized communities and even literally had an actual battle in the 70s with communists, killing 9 of them in Greensboro, North Carolina. Wasn't that not terrorism? How about the insane amount of rhetoric and even actions taken against marginalized communities, such as the bombing of black neighborhoods, or the constant rhetoric, the constant threats of violence against trans people, literally calling on social media, stating that we should be exterminated. That's not terrorism, but somebody speaking their mind on YouTube, somebody actively protesting against tyranny and oppression, apparently is terrorism. Something I would also like to point out, and I feel like this is a good place to end this video. We fought, or at least America fought a war against a tyrannical autocrat 250 years ago. It literally broke free of a king, of an autocrat. And yet, why is it that so many Americans are willing to accept a new one? That's a question I would really like for somebody to answer. And if you are also so willing to accept this king, this autocrat, if you are so willing to accept that in America, then maybe, just hand this land back over to the people you stole it from and go back to England. I'm Red Pagan Nicole for the Red Pagan Network, signing off. Until next time. Thank you for watching. If you like news and politics from a leftist perspective, true crime, or informational videos on leftist philosophy and pagan belief practices, and would like to support the channel, please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. Even a few bucks really helps me out. All links are provided in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe, and share on various social media. Hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video. I put out content regularly, so you will always get quite a bang for your buck.